This is the story of Miles, who was a video game programmer. One morning when he wakes up, he is very scared to see his hands, because someone operated his hands and fitted guns in it. These guns were attached to his shoulders with the help of screws and bolts, which was impossible to remove. Because of those guns, he was having trouble doing his daily work. This means with his smallest movement, the bullets could be fired by mistake. Whenever he tried to ask for help, people would call the police immediately. Will Miles be able to get those guns out of his hands and live his life again? And the most important question is, who put those guns in his hands? And what does he want Miles to do? To know the whole story of Miles, keep watching our movie, which is called Guns Akimbo. At the beginning of this movie, we are told that there is an online gangster community on the dark web. They call themselves the Schism, and their job is to make big criminals fight for money. They used to live stream their whole fight on Skizm, which was watched by people all over the world on dark web. The most dangerous player of this game was named Nyx. Since the age of 13, Nyx has been playing this game, and she never came to this game, because the loser had to die in this game. After this, we see Miles, who used to code for a gaming company. People used to think that his work was so good, but Miles didn't like his work at all. He didn't even like the game for which he used to work. His boss used to threaten to fire him from his job because he was very lazy and didn't do his work on time. These were the things that always bothered him. Despite all these problems, there was one place where he used to vent out his anger, and that place was an internet. On the internet, Miles used to abuse all those people who had a different opinion from him. He used to block people, report posts and videos, and he used to do all those things that he didn't like to see on the internet. One day when he came home, he saw on TV that there were talks about this kind of thing on every news channel. Miles thought, why not make fun of those people on the internet who watch people dying on the screen? Now, because he was a programmer, he quickly opened the dark web and started cursing people who were happy to see people dying. But by trolling them, he accidentally meets the man who used to run the entire network. This man's name was Richter, and he didn't like anyone making fun of his customers like this. While giving the keys, Miles realizes that they know his IP address. So he immediately shuts the Schism, because anyone could be tracked with the IP address. Miles gets a message from his ex-girlfriend, and she wants to meet him. He was so happy to meet her that he fell asleep while dreaming. They were sitting in the garden. But then someone knocks on his door. Miles didn't want to open the gate, but he couldn't stop him from breaking it. We see that this man was none other than Richter, the owner of Skizm Games. Richter checks his laptop and confirms that Miles is the same man who was abusing him on the internet. He came to break his hands because he had written badly about him on the internet with those hands. But Richter had worse plans for Miles. He makes him unconscious, and by operating his hands, he fits 2 guns inside him. When Miles wakes up, he gets scared seeing those guns. He was trying to call his girlfriend for help, but he couldn't hold his mobile because of those guns. Miles finds out that he has to kill a girl named Nyx in 24 hours. Nyx was the best player in this game, and Miles never talked to anyone in a loud voice. On the other hand, we see Nyx, who is telling Richter that she is not going to play this game anymore. She wants to get out of here, but Richter tells her that she just has to play her last match with another man. After that, she can leave the game. Nyx changes her dress and goes to a police station, because she used to check her criminal background first before killing anyone. But there was nothing like that in Miles's case. She didn't do any crime. He was a very decent man. On the other hand, Miles was having a lot of trouble in going to the toilet because of those guns. Because his one mistake and everything is over. As soon as he wears clothes and comes out of his apartment, he sees Nyx in front of him. Nyx starts shooting blindly at him as soon as he sees him. Miles tries to explain his situation to him, but Nyx doesn't care about his condition. She just wanted to kill her. Miles runs to some police officers and asks for help. But the police officers see the guns in his hands and ask him to surrender. Miles was trying to explain to him, but this ruins the situation. Miles starts to feel suffocated running from the police officers because he is an asthma patient and he forgot his inhaler at home. The police officer gives him a strong electric shock, but Miles accidentally shoots the police officer. He had no other option but to run away, because Nyx was after him, tracking his phone. He runs to the garden. where his girlfriend Nova is waiting for him. Miles tells him to leave immediately, because Nix was about to blow them up with a bazooka. He was so scared that he couldn't even lie to Nova about his situation. And when Nova sees the guns in his hand, she doesn't listen to him and runs away from there. No one supports Miles, so he goes to a dustbin and hides. Richter's spy drones were watching him. The director of that live stream takes the camera away from him and focuses on Nix. But the Richter wanted to see Miles only. They have a little argument on this. But Richter is so angry at him that he strangles the character to death. We see that Noah comes to the police to ask for help. But the police wanted to catch Nix to help him because he was the one who had created the terror in the city. Miles gets out of the dustbin and tries to wear his clothes but cannot do anything because of the guns. He was so disappointed that he decided to commit suicide. But a beggar was sitting next to him. He advises him to keep the gun in the right direction so that the bullet goes straight to his brain. Miles thought he was a bit weird, but that same man helped him wear clothes. After this, Miles goes to his office because he knows he is being tracked. On the way, he learns that many people in his office started recognizing him because of the Schism. He tells his friend to remove the tracing virus from his phone. When his friend was removing the virus, his boss came there. He was shouting at Miles to come to the office late. Miles had seen a lot from the beginning of the day, and now he could not tolerate his boss's words. So he shows him his guns and starts shouting at him. His boss saw him so angry for the first time, and on top of that, this time he had guns too. So he gets scared of him. In a little while, Nix arrives there, kills his boss, and starts open firing in his office. Miles shoots her, but her aim is so bad that he can't shoot her by mistake. He ran away with a car but was in trouble holding the steering wheel without his fingers. Because of this, he has a big accident and he gets badly injured. Miles asks Nix to spare his life, but we get to know that Nix wanted to kill him because after doing this, the Vector promised to erase all his criminal records. Miles accidentally shoots a gas tank while firing at him, and he hears the fire coming out of it. As if he is terrified of fire. Miles had a chance to kill him, but he doesn't do that and leaves. After this, he video calls Noah and tells him he is leaving the city and going somewhere far away. And if he doesn't do that, he will kill Nova alive. After that, Miles turns on the tracker again in his phone, calls the police from that phone, and calls them to his location. So as soon as they come face to face, the police encounter Nix. He leaves his phone and starts going from there. But by mistake, he reaches in the middle of some gangsters who are dealing drugs there. When they see Miles, they think he was spying on them. So he puts his gun on his head. But before he can kill Miles, Nix reaches there and she shoots them all with a machine gun and kills them. Because she had to kill Miles to win this game. Miles runs away from there, but in the meantime, he shoots a man and kills him. This was the first time he killed anyone. But it was of no use because the police still arrested him. They arrest Miles and take him to the police station. He tries to explain to them that the director is forcing him to do all this, but none of them is ready to listen to him. Here Miles finds out that Nix is the daughter of that inspector. 16 years ago, that inspector had arrested the director, and to take revenge for this, he sat the entire family, left his daughter, and died. Miles understands that perhaps this was the reason that Nix was so scared of the fire that day. We find out that there was a reporter of Richter behind those police officers, and he was not anywhere else but sitting with Miles. That imposter kills that inspector and shows Miles a recorded footage of Richter. He was telling him that if he went to ask for help from the police again, he won't wait for 5 hours to kill his girlfriend. Miles was sitting near the body of that officer. He sees that the inspector is tracking his and Noma's phone. After this, he goes to his other hacker friend and finds out the exact location of Noma's phone. That girl was also a customer of this prison. She recognizes Miles and tells him that he is the most wanted contestant of all time. And maybe that was the reason why Richter didn't want to give him an easy death. He wanted to see as many people as possible begging for their lives. When Miles reaches the location while tracing his phone, we see that Richter is waiting for him there. He kills Nova in front of him and runs away from there. Miles was crying seeing Nova's body in front of him. That's when he found out that the body was not Noah's but his friend's. If he wanted to stop all this, he would have to kill Nix. That's why he turns on his mobile's GPS again, which Nix reaches him while tracking him. Miles tells him that they both have to fight Richter together, otherwise none of them will survive. But Nix doesn't listen to him and shoots him with bullets one after the other. In this game, Nix wins. However, the people who were watching the live schism were not happy with Miles's death, because he made them more fun than any other contestant. Noah starts crying after seeing Miles dead, and some people pick up his body from there and clean all the evidence. But we see that as soon as they are going to dispose of his body, Miles stands up and kills them both. This happened because it was all his plan. When Nix came to him, he told him that the inspector who was killed by Richter was his dad. Knowing this truth, Nix wanted to avenge his dad's death, and that's why he didn't kill Miles. Miles wore a bulletproof jacket before the shoot so that people would think he was dead. After this, they both come to Richter's den and start killing his people. When Richter finds out that they are still alive and coming to kill him, he sends his people to kill them. Miles sees that Richter has spread this schism all over the world, and it is impossible to stop him now. Nix was getting beaten up by a man, to the point that he cut off her fingers. But she was not a girl who would give up so easily. Finally, with a big bang, all the Richter's people are killed. Miles picks up Nix's cut fingers because they could have been joined again. Richter starts running away with Noah. When they tried to catch him, there were a lot of people in front of him to stop them. It was impossible to reach Richter while being with them. But Nick was ready to sacrifice himself to avenge his family's death. She tells Miles to kill Richter for her. Saying this, she puts a bomb on herself. She tries to kill as many people as possible. But when she is badly injured, she finally blasts the bomb on her. Miles sees that Noah has marked the wall to reach him. Following him, he comes to the roof of the building where Richter is waiting for his helicopter. Richter tells him that look how famous he has become today. But without him, he was nothing. Miles says that Nick is dead. This game is over now. So he let him and Noah go from there. But Richter started this game with the intention of never ending it. Miles shoots his last bullet at him. But like every time, his aim misses this time too. At this time, about 1 crore people were watching this case. And they wanted to know that what Miles would do next to save Noah. We see that the editor is beating him up one by one. But Miles reaches him and beats him up. And finally, he hangs him from the building. The editor says that nothing will happen to him if he beats him up. People like me are in the whole world now. But at that time, Miles does not think about the whole world and throws him down from the building. He falls and dies. And Miles wins this game. He was almost half dead on the ground. Miles sees Noah coming towards him. But the truth was the opposite. Noah was so scared of him that she was running away from him. We see that even after all this, Miles is still alive. And he got his hands back. He now had a purpose in his life, which was to end Schism forever. With this story ends here. I hope you like this movie. Thank you for watching.